Live already? Oh, what's going on, y'all? This is Jordan Jay-Z, my man, trying to put me on the spot. Jordan Jay-Z from the ATS Report. What is going on? I am back on the Breeze set, and it's a special show because for the very first time, I got the man, the myth, the legend to my right on the show with me, Pat the designer from the Windy City Breeze. Say what's up to him. I don't know what that is.
What's good? Me and Kid acting stupid. That's it. What's good, y'all? How y'all feeling, man? Pleasure to be on the show.
And I got my boy over there in the Ringo hot section, filling my seat for right now. C-Dub Nation. And in the back on the ones and twos,
That's a three, baby. That's a three.
Is that what that is? We put up threes.
Let's be careful with that.
No gang signs, please. No gang signs. All right. We got PK in the back. And we just want to get into a brief talk about what we saw from the very first game. The Bulls came out very flat and very disappointing. And so I just want to, the Bulls did not get to the Yams. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't know if I
think the Bulls were the Yams.
Jeez. Yeah, they got. Let me not say that. I was about to go somewhere else with that.
They got.
But anyway, the topic is obviously after that loss, the players already after one game had a players-only meeting. What in the world is going on with the Chicago Bulls organization, and why did they have that players-only meeting? I just want to get you guys thoughts on that real quick. Let's go to the man Pat himself and see what you got to say first, man.
I mean, listen, you got your butts kicked in the first game. It's something you needed to do. I get it, right? It's the spectacle of the players-only meeting and the fact that we had it after the first game. But listen, we asked, was there a disconnect with this team? And we talked about how there was going to be all this continuity and all it, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, there was no continuity pretty much. I mean, you saw a team that, I will say it wasn't all bad, right? They did some good things defensively for the first 3.5 quarters. And they got beat by a better team going into the fourth, but offensively it just didn't exist. And there was a clear mismatch that you could have exploited and didn't. So that's why you end up having a players only meeting. We heard that Vooch blew up at Billy Donovan, and I ain't gonna lie to you, like there is that moment where you just gotta. I've seen too many teams win in spite of their coach being who their coach is to sit there and be like, oh, well, Billy Donovan is this bad and this is holding the Bulls back. Like, holding the Bulls back is like y'all are losing close games. Y'all got beat by 20 in your home opener.
Yeah, speaking of that, the score final score was 124-104. They got defeated and pummeled by the Thunder. Shea and them boys gave it to them. But I agree with you. I think that over and over and over, like literally. And they started out good, but I believe they won the first quarter by a couple of points. They started out hot, and some of the things that I think that they mentioned in the players only meeting, obviously Vooch was hot because you saw that there was, believe there was a clip of him having it out with Donovan on the bench. And he said, hey, you know what? I don't think that, we're going to the things that work. You went away from me. And obviously we went back to the same old routine, which is what I think that players only meeting was good for. Hopefully this galvanizes the team where they can talk about, we're not trying to get back into the same old rut, same routine, same bad habits. So let's address this now before we get into the mode of the season. And then we go back into the same things that really kind of made us kind of up and down in the seasons in past. And so I don't know, C-Dub, what you think, man?
Yeah, the problem really lies in the fact that it seems like as if they don't know who the go-to guy really is, whether it's DeMar DeRozan or whether that's Zach LaVine or whether that's Vooch. Obviously, the strategy this offseason was to develop a plan around making Vooch a lot of more so that center point of the offense, kind of like how Denver is, Denver-esque. The problem is that the Bulls too often rely on ISO ball. They too often rely on DeMar doing his thing, cooking in the mid-range, and everybody standing around watching. Or Zach, doing the same thing, but not being able to handle the ball without turning it over, which drives me crazy. So I think that's a problem. And then this team, they don't have no real dogs. Pat Bev was the last dog on this team.
Came and went.
Now they get too many nice guys.
I mean, Javon
so
is
nobody's
a dog.
challenging.
If you want to define the dogs, like Javon is a dog technically. I've seen him get into people's faces. He's kind of like Pat Beverly-esque, that same kind of pedigree. But I don't know.
See, the problem is you need your dog to be a dog to the team that he's on. I mean, that's the problem with this Bulls team. You gotta, you gotta fire up your guys. This ain't about going at the other team or going at the other side. This is about how are you going to get your guys to play the game the right way. And we haven't seen them be be able to do that in 2.5 seasons. You thought maybe this was the year that somebody would be able to dig. And maybe, listen, here's the thing. Maybe it is Vooch. Maybe Vooch might, I ain't gonna lie to you. He might be sick of it. I think Vooch is like, hey, listen, I'm the third option. I shouldn't have to be the one to talk. And I think that's kind of how he's operated the last couple of years. Maybe it is Vooch. Because Vooch was like, listen, what y'all doing? There's no way you're not giving me the basketball down there. Yeah, there's no way you can't find a way for me to get the ball.
Yeah. They need to be held accountable more. And I think Vooch is the person that stepped up, especially. He showed his emotion. And Billy, of course, he's going to be playing nice. He said, I like that from my big guy. That's what we need more of, is kind of voicing and communicating on the court. A lot of players are saying they're too quiet of a team. And so that's something they need to improve on. I think that hopefully will work. Again, this could go either way. This could go good. You start seeing the Bulls playing a way better brand of basketball, a newer brand of basketball that they claim they're trying to get to, or they can go back to hey, when we're in trouble, DeMar, give us that mid-range shot, keep forcing it till it goes in, and then they go away from Vooch, and Vooch is pissed. Stacey said it best, feed the big man. Feed the big man often and early. Don't go away from what works. And so I think if this Bulls team does that, who do they play next? Tomorrow,
we got the Raptors.
So it's going to be the Raptors. Now,
Yeah.
see, that's a whole different challenge because they got a lot of forwards, a lot of long arms. I don't know. Maybe that just poses a different challenge, but we'll see how they do with that. PK, what you got for me, man?
It's a coaching issue. It's a
You
coaching.
just don't like
I'm
Billy,
gonna be real with you. Yeah. Knowing how to direct this group of men and lead them to play efficient basketball in situational basketball is a coaching issue. Yeah. I have to put the people in position to do what I want them to do. So if the game plan is, all right, we're going to take a bunch of threes, there's a game plan for that. OKC wasn't the team where you needed to take a bunch of threes. You need to exploit your mismatch. Because guess what happens when you now see that they can't stick your big? They get in foul trouble. Guess what happens when you're at the foul line most of the time? You score points without the clock running, but you also start to create separation. That's also how you maintain this. We couldn't stick Shea. Shea is an MVP candidate.
Yep. There you go.
Shea is going to be in the MVP conversation this entire season. I don't care about. I don't have a defender to stick him 192 feet. I don't care for that. But you know what they don't have? They don't have a big to stop my bigs. Andre Drummond has a highlight.
Yeah.
Actually, like 3-4 of
it. He has a, but like think of that. He has a highlight. He's your bench guard. Yes, bench center.
Yeah.
Like he's coming off the
school check.
So guess what? You run with that. That's not the time to take threes. Guess what playoff basketball tells
it shouldn't be two separate conversations, though. That's the problem with the Bulls. You got to have two separate conversations, except no other team does. I've seen teams operate down low and still be able to put up 30+ threes. We shouldn't be having two separate conversations about you shouldn't be shooting it. You should be shooting them threes. 42 threes is still low in today's NBA, but it's better. Like,
crazy to think about.
It's crazy to think about, but most teams shoot 3-pointers. And you should still be able to operate in the paint while still shooting threes. You know why? Because we won the offensive rebounding battle.
Yeah.
If you don't get the first three to go, hey, listen, maybe you move that thing around, you throw it back down to Vooch, you find an easy lane, right? Like that. It shouldn't be you have to do one or the other with the talent that this Bulls team is supposed to have.
Yeah. You know what? And going back to the point about the players only meeting, this is another reason why I think maybe it will kind of bring the team closer, and it's a positive, if anything, is because you've seen teams and some of the best in the league be very passionate and go at each other. I've seen Miami almost curse each other out and go to blows when Jimmy and I think Udonis Haslem was fighting on the bench, calling each other all kinds of names, and him going up against his own coach and Spoelstra. They had to be separated, and them dudes got all the way to the finals. So there's something to be said about actually caring and showing more concern. That's something I haven't seen the Bulls do. So this is different, and I think they want to nip it in the bud before it gets bad. And we'll see if that actually makes a change. The players got to buy in, though.
I think that's a very good analogy because you just mentioned the Miami. We also compare them so much to Denver because that's where AK comes from. If you look at the finals, there were some games they didn't take a lot of threes, but they executed everything else well. The conversations, just like Pat said, it's funny that you have to have both of these conversations because when one thing is not working, you're also not doing these other things that lead to wins. And that's like a continuous thing with all of our Chicago teams.
Yeah.
When the one thing the Bears do well, all of a sudden we go away from. We run the ball well. Well, we don't do that on a consistent basis, but we also don't have a coach who calls it on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
that's a problem, right? Same thing with Chicago Bulls. We have bigs. We have a top 10 big statistically that we don't utilize all the way. Well, he's forced to take jump shots. He doesn't call for them to be in the post and running through that offense, but that's what we extended him for. That's what the supposedly agreement was, that he was going to get a bigger share of the offense. First game, you don't give him that opportunity, and a clear mismatch. So, like, okay, you're not going to do that, and then we're not shooting well. So you can't just it's crazy. Like, we don't stack our wins. Like, we don't win the rebound battle and offensive rebound battle and lead in
one or the other.
Yeah, it's like we do one and then like it's by chance. So it's like it's one of those things where it's coaching on both sides in both sports across the city. It's a coaching and culture issue because no one's bought into the point where they execute on a high level, and that's a sad thing to say as someone who's like repping the city as hard as we do, man.
Yeah. As Chicago fans, we're very passionate about our teams. Obviously, we want to see them win. And of course, with what you just said, hopefully Billy Donovan kind of gets his act together, because maybe he might be on the hot seat before it's all said and done as well, with the way things are going.
They both should be.
PK want everybody out here. Hey, man, but shout out to all you guys, man. Appreciate you all coming on the show with me. So we'll see if the Bulls can kind of go up from here. Hopefully this players only meeting is a positive and not a negative, and it kind of, like I said, galvanizes the team. But shout out to my boy Pat the Designer for coming through. Appreciate the love. My boy C-Dub over there in the Ringo's hot section. And then we got PK on the ones and twos, man. We will see you all later on the next ATS report. I'm out.